All right, Mr. Richard Akinola also joins us in the studio here. He's a lawyer and a journalist. Thank you for coming on today. Well, I haven't seen all that is going on. I mean, Public Order Act, lots of comments going on, articles, so many things have been written and said about all of this. But the thing about this is you will always have politicians who are divided about what happened, how it should happen, how they interpret the law, and then the lawyers also come in supporting their views, rightly or wrongly. Yeah. And ultimately, they just tell you, look, if you feel hard done by, go to court. But you're a lawyer and a journalist, so an interesting position to be in. How do you see what happened?
Well, I think before I go to the issue of rally, Public Order Act or whatever, first of all, on the controversy of whether Senator Abe was shot or not, well, my take is that I don't think it was rubber bullet, because I am not aware that Nigerian police use rubber bullets and then they use live bullets. I think what actually happened was that, because from experience during our rallies and during the other military, the police normally use two types of tear gas. One, they throw like grenade to us in the crowd, or the one shot from the rifle, like a rifle meant for...
Isn't that a long time ago you participated in that kind of rally? Times have changed.
We did, of course, 2 years ago, the first subsidy rally.
Oh,
so it was okay. So they shoot, they have a rifle for tear gas canisters. And the way it is usually done is that, even if you look at what happened in Thailand, the recent, so when you fire the tire, it goes like this into the crowd. So, and of course, it disperses everybody around it. But I think what happened in this instance is that it was a close range shot. And because of the velocity of that of the canister, apparently it hit the senator in the chest, because it's not supposed to be a direct shot. Because you only shoot about 50 meters away into the crowd. But I think what happened in this instance was that a direct shot at close range, and because of the velocity of the canister, by the time it hits the guy, there's possibility that there may be some internal hemorrhage. That's why I think could have happened. Then, coupled with inhaling of the gas and stuff like that, particularly for somebody who's not used to that kind of thing. Because I recall that the last rally that we did in Yaba, before Gani flew out, Gani wasn't too fine, but he wanted to be in that rally. And when they shot that, Gani fainted. So we have to pour water continuously to revive him. So, and for somebody now, that's somebody who was used to tear gas. But in this case, I think what happened was that the tear gas canister was shot at very close range, which shouldn't be. And maybe it hit him in the chest, and then inhaling those kind, I think they now passed out. I think that's what happened. I don't think it was rubber bullet, because the Nigerian police are not used to rubber bullets. So, and having said that, I don't think the police has any rights in the first place to stop anyone from holding rally or demonstration, because the Court of Appeal decision stands in the case of IG of police versus AMPP, where the court declared null and void certain section of the Public Order Act, particularly section 1, subsection 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and section 2, 3, and 4 of the Public Order Act, which the court found to be inconsistent with the Constitution. So, and having said that, the police doesn't have any right to stop anyone, because the court went further, that if police actually are afraid of a possible breakdown of law and order, that the criminal code is enough to take care of that. So, but of course, the Nigerian police, because of their interest, because there have been different rallies in Port Harcourt, River State. The Wicked group have been holding their own, and they show it live, and not, there was no such of police disruption or such things. And you see, let me give one example. In 1987, when Gani Fahimi held the anti-SAP symposium in his chambers, then Babangida's security people came, disrupted it, arrested Gani, Taishu Lani, and Pa Imodu. Then two of them, Imodu and Taishu Lani, were released second day. Gani from there went to Gashua, and it became an issue, court cases, advocacy, and rest of it. So, and my take is that if Babangida had allowed that symposium to have been held, perhaps that have been talked in one inside page on this paper, people have forgotten about it. But for arresting Gani and all these people, it became an issue, and for several months and years, it was Gani in court, litigation, we went to be free Gani now, and all those things started. So the same thing, if the police had allowed this thing to have happened, it has not been reported like any other thing, and people have moved on. But now with what they have done, it has shifted focus from the rally, but to the excessive use of force by the police.
Okay, you talked about this, the court case between the AMPP and the Inspector General of Police.
Yeah.
And certain sections or provisions of that act that was declared null and void.
Yeah.
But there are also lots of commentary about the fact that much as those sections may have been declared null and void,
Yeah.
but the case did not speak about the constitutionality of the act itself. And some say, since that did not address it to that extent, the law is still valid.
No, the law is still valid. Nobody is contesting the public order, but certain section, because when the court strikes down certain section of a particular law to the extent of inconsistency with the Constitution, it's just like the law of sedition. Court of Appeal said that section 50 and 51 of the Criminal Code on sedition is inconsistent with the Constitution, and it struck it down in the Aton Wako's case.
What about the case between Chukwuma and others against the Commissioner of Police? Now, in that case, some who went to court on that said, look, the law is still valid.
No, the Public Order Act is still there. No, the whole law was not totally invalidated, but certain sections of the law, which the court felt was inconsistent with the section 40 of the Constitution on the issue of right of public assembly. So I believe that by the time the matter Supreme Court decide finally on this issue, all this will be laid bare. But beyond that, I think all this is just pure politics.
No, but before you come to that,
okay.
I mean, since the court has made that decision about the MPP and IG, and then some who also went to court with Chukwuma and others against the Commissioner of Police, since those have been made, what should the National Assembly do? Should they repeal those sections or repeal the law entirely?
No, they can amend the law. Very simple.
But that hasn't happened.
That hasn't happened. So because laws are made different ways, by judicial pronouncement, by National Assembly, by President. So, and once you have a particular law on ground that these sections have been declared invalid as being inconsistent with the Constitution, it stands as it is until the higher court rules otherwise.
Because as it is now, this one is based on judicial pronouncement.
Yes.
And these are the sections you say has actually negated some sections of the Public Order Act.
Yeah.
But, the police hold firmly to this, perhaps maybe in ignorance of that particular section or those sections that have actually been negated by the court. But they went further, and we saw what finally happened. In the light of this, some still argue that you should, as a matter of security, get a permit before such is
No, you
held.
can notify the police. We are holding social things, not for a permit.
So
we are holding
just
it
just
for coverage. For example, during the fuel subsidy protest,
Rally, yes.
we notified the police. They came. They gave us coverage. They were there. We were even gisting with them. Throughout the 4 days, we were discussing, gisting with them. So there was no problem until.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Until they now sent soldiers out when they saw the thing was, getting larger and larger. They sent soldiers to cut down the whole place because the police were there. We notified the police that we were holding this rally, and they were there throughout. No, there was no crisis whatsoever.
The issue that happened in Rivers State, the organizers of that rally said they notified the police, and there was actually a letter. Now, a copy of that letter, looking at a quote from the letter, said something about applying for security. Does that amount to a notification?
Sure, yeah. Because if you apply for security, is that way, so that hoodlums will not come and hijack the place. So policemen can just be, about 20 meters and just watching what's happening there. It's just like if you are having a procession, because the difference even in this one that it was in a particular school, it was not even just a procession that would have, maybe hoodlums would just come and hijack, but it was even in a school itself. So sometimes when we won't have our normal rally, just they follow us, we just go like that. And I recall that in 2003, we had similar one in Yaba. And I recall that Shobolo, who is now the DSP, Deputy Commissioner of Operations, was in charge of RS then. So, and we held each other like our own group, we held each other. So Shobolo, they fenced us. So we want to go to INEC office, but he didn't allow us. But we were just like that, and we were speaking our own day. And so, because he's my friend, so we just say, Richard, I will deal with you today. Don't comment there, Richard. This way, Tunde and I like the talk. So it was just kind of thing. So it was just kind of thing. So
we can have a more civil relations with the police.
Yes.
Even in rallies like that.
Of course.
So what went wrong?
For example, I recall the day we launched NCP in October 1, 1984.
The same National Conscience.
National Conscience. As we were when the police cordoned off the initial venue, so we changed to another place in Attorney roundabout. So we're now moving towards Ojota. And I recall that the leader of the policemen, he was in Mufti. He was telling me, Rich. He was telling me in Yoruba, so do your own, let me do my own. We're just like that. Just along Ojota. So that's how things work.